come on this call. So we just started Sefer Bamidbar, and Sefer Bamidbar is a whole new Sefer, and we know that every one of our Sfarim has an English name. That maybe the Christian, it really comes from a Christian source. And what's the English name for Bamidbar? It's called Numbers. Why is it called Numbers? Because this is where we count. And the truth is, it's not just a Christian source. We have the Torah Shebaal Peh calls the different Sfarim different names, and the different names, the Sefer Bamidbar is called Sefer HaPekudim, which is the book of counting. Every single, you have Sefer HaGeula, that's Exodus. You have Sefer HaYetzirah, that's Genesis. It's not just the names that it was given in English, but it's also the names that we have Torah Shebaal Peh that our rabbis gave, because it gives another depth to the overall structure of the Sefer. And Sefer Bamidbar has a lot of different countings where we count Am Yisrael. And this brings us to the concept of, do we count Am Yisrael or do we not count Am Yisrael? On the one hand, we're supposed to count, and we have a few countings in this Sefer. On the other hand, we know from Parshat Kisisa, from the Machatzit HaShekel, is that you're not supposed to be counting. You're not allowed to, if you want to count the Jewish people, you have to count them with half a shekel. Make sure that each person gives half a shekel. Goes back to the concept that I was telling you of daily giving, right? That everyone gives the same exact amount. They give half a shekel. The truth is that it was actually everyone gave one full shekel, because they gave half a shekel for the Adanim, for the base of the Mishkan, and another half a shekel for the Karban Tzibur. But the concept is that every single year when they would do a census for the Jewish people, they would do it with everyone giving half a shekel, because you're not allowed to count. But on the other hand, we have a mitzvah to count. So we're supposed to count the Jewish people, but we're not supposed to count the Jewish people. How do we understand that? And the truth is that the Gemara already asks about the Haftorah. The Haftorah says that Bnei Yisrael, v'haya mispar Bnei Yisrael asher lo yisafer v'lo yimaneh. The number of Bnei Yisrael will be the amount that you cannot count, and it couldn't be counted. So it's the number. There is a number. V'haya mispar Bnei Yisrael. There is a specific number, and then it says that you can't count that number. There is a number, but it's too high of a number. So obviously infinity is the number that you can't count. But the moment it's not infinity, so then it's a number that you could count. So what was the number? Was there a number? Was there not a number? The Gemara says, Kan b'she'osim ritzono shel makom, kan b'she'ein osim ritzono shel makom. When you count, when you're doing the will of Hashem, so then you count, and then there is no number. When you're doing the will of Hashem, there is no number. Asher lo yimaneh. You cannot even count the number of the Jewish people. And then she'eina nosin ritzono shel makom. So then we are countable. And there's a tosefis though to that, because we know that Avraham Avinu was given a bracha. He was given a bracha about how large his descendants will be, how large the Jewish people will be, which is us. Now, what were the brachos that Avraham Avinu was given? We know them on the tip of our tongue. He was given that your descendants will be many. There will be so many like what? What did Hashem tell him that there'll be so many? There'll be so many like what? Like the stars in the sky. But he also said that there'll be so many like the sand by the ocean. So we're compared to the kochavim in the shamayim, to the stars in the sky, and we're also compared to the sand of the sea. Now, both of them are so vast that you can't, impossible to count how many planets and galaxies and stars there are in the, we don't even know. We're finding new stars all the time, and try to count how many kernels of sand there are by the beach. It's a lifetime's work, and you won't be able to count the amount of kernels by the beach. So they're both a sign of uniqueness of the Jewish people, but yet it's different. Now, what's the difference between being many like the stars and being many like the sand? And the truth is that I think this answers another issue, or I would say a paradox or a complex that we have in Judaism. In Judaism, there's a lot of the discussion about being unique and being special. I would say, especially growing up going to the yeshiva system, at a certain point, I learned in the Mir Yeshiva. You walk into the Mir Yeshiva, I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you have, it's a tremendous sight to see. But another tremendous sight to see is you walk into the closet where they where they hang up all of the jackets and all of the hats. I remember the first time I walked in there, I'm like, how does anyone find their hats and jackets? It's hundreds of the same jackets and the same hats, and they all look the same. And yeah, it comes minchata, everyone finds it. And you walk into the Mir Yeshiva, and you're a young bacher. Everyone looks the same. Everyone is wearing a white shirt and a black jacket and a black hat. Why is it like that? Why is the yeshiva system like that specifically in the Haredi community, that everyone is looking the same? Where's our uniqueness? Do we not need to have a sense of uniqueness? And it's a paradox within Judaism, because we believe in every single person being unique, but yet we believe in every single person that we're part of the same group. We're part of the same community. We're part of the same kehila. We're part of the same yeshiva. We speak a lot about achdus, about unity. So how do we find that paradox and that juggle between those two values that are so important to us? Because in Judaism, there's the value of each one being unique and each one being special. And there's also the value of all of us being together and being one unit. Lasos retzoncha v'yasu kulam aguda achas. Everyone should do one aguda, lasos retzoncha v'levav shalom, to fulfill your will. So are we one unit, or are we many separate individuals? And I think those are the two blessings that Avraham Avinu is given, and that we learn about in this Sefer Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, is that there's two types of counting. There is counting in quantity, and there is counting in quality. There is the person who is counting how much money he has. So that's the quantity, or how much, whatever it is. And then there is the counting in the quality. I want to make sure that I have everything of quality over here in my possession, everything that is unique, everything that is special. And I think that's the difference between the stars and the sand. See, the sand, every single unique kernel of sand is not really special. The awesomeness of the sand is that there is so much sand together, and you walk on it and it's barefoot. I'm sure some of you have seen pictures from the beach in Tel Aviv. Is it appropriate that there's so many people on the beach, or they shouldn't be on the beach during this time period? Things are closed, but yet the beach is open, right? A lot of different questions. But the power of the beach is that there's so many kernels of sand together, and hopefully there's nothing else there, and that's when it's so beautiful. It's like a white sand. But the power of the stars is specifically that every single star is a planet. Every single star is unique. Every single star represents a whole new world, a whole different world. That's what's so special about it's true, when you look at it from down below, from Earth, and you're looking up at the stars, you're like, there are hundreds, there are thousands of stars in the galaxies, and it's so beautiful. Now, they say that nowadays, we're able to see the stars so much clearer than we were able to see it just 3 months ago. And you're going a little bit out of town, a little bit out of the city, or even in the cities, you look up and you're able to see that there's stars. You're able to see that there are galaxies, something that we weren't able to see because there was always like this fog of pollution on top of us. You look up and you're like, you're in awe, you're in amazement. But what's unique about the stars is that each star is unique. Each star is special. And that's what we try to educate our children. And this is really the value within Judaism, is that each person is actually unique. Each person is a star in it of himself. Each person represents a whole world, a shining star, a kochav oleh, kochav nolad. There's a rising star and a new star that is coming into being, but yet that star, part of the uniqueness of that star is that he's part of the galaxies, that he's part of the overall mission. And I think that's the uniqueness within Judaism. And that's why a lot of times there is a uniformity in clothing or in outside, and there's uniqueness on the inside. When there's depth to people, so you find out their uniqueness through conversations, through hearing their words, their values, their actions. And that's what highlights the uniqueness of that person. when there isn't as much depth in the inside, so then a lot of times in the world at large, people want to show their uniqueness through the external. So they put on a red shirt, they put on a gothic shirt. They want to stick out, they want to stand out, they want to show that they're unique and they're special. So the way to show it is through the chitzonius. I'm not sure, I'm not an advocate for for the Haredi Tzibur, but I think that's probably the balance that they're trying to strike, which is the uniformity of we are one tzibur, we're one community, we look alike, we dress alike, but there's a uniqueness in each and every one of the individuals. Nowadays, we live in a modern world. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to be wearing the same clothes and the same thing, and styles change, and even the styles of this Haredi community and this Hasidic community, it really comes from whatever was in style and in fashion back in the day. I'm not here to speak about clothing. I'm here to speak about us. I'm here to speak about our uniqueness and finding our unique nikuda and character trait. We started speaking about this last week when we spoke about our identity, our yeshut, our, finding by stopping the race of life, we're able to find our own identity and our own uniqueness in life. And I think that's what leads us straight into the book of Numbers, the book of counting, which is the book that allows us to understand that I count. We're in the days of counting the Omer, which means that we are working on ourselves to become, greater and greater every single day. But it's also the days where we realize that we count, that we matter, that we are unique, that we bring a unique light into the Jewish world, and that we are needed in the Jewish world, that Am Yisrael needs me, and Am Yisrael needs you, and Am Yisrael needs every single one of us, because if we're here and we're part of a kehila, we're part of the greater Am Yisrael, that means that I play a specific role. The fact that I come on this Zoom, so that means I'm one of the 41 computers on right now. And if I wasn't here, it would be only 40. And if I need to be seen on the computer right now, because if I'm not there, so then I'm one of the 70 people watching this program, right? Whatever it might be, it's I matter. I add to the kehila, I add to the community, I add to Am Yisrael, I add to the togetherness of our kehila, and I bring something unique, because each and every one of us brings something special and unique to our community, whether it's a specific midah, a specific character trait, a specific geschmackheit, a specific seriousness, a learnedness, a tefillah, a chesed, a good word, an action, a cleansiness, whatever it might be. Each and every one of us brings something unique to the picture. And that's what this Sefer is all about. This Sefer, and that we're going to be seeing it, the different stories of going through the Midbar, is really highlights the uniqueness of every single Jew, the uniqueness of every single person. And I think in a kehila, it's very important to recognize that. In a certain way, I feel that our Zoom calls magnified that, because we weren't just one unit. There's a power when we're one unit. We're like the sand. It's beautiful. You come into shul, you see a lot of people, there's singing, there's davening. We're one unit. What's unique about this call, and what has been unique for the last few months, is that we're one unit, but I could see every single face on the call. Every single person is unique. Every single person stands alone in his own box, but yet together we're one kehila. And I think that's what's special about this past time period, is that we were able to see the uniqueness of different members of our community, and yet we were able to have that cohesive drive to be a community, to make a difference, to be there for one another. And we feel like we're part of something bigger. And that balance of those two feelings is really the uniqueness of Am Yisrael. And we always need that balance of those two feelings. Because if I'm a part of something greater, but I don't feel that there is room for my own voice and room for my own uniqueness, so then I feel like I'm lost in that greater cause. But if I'm a unique individual, but I'm not part of something greater, I also feel like I'm lost and I lose something. And I want to be a part of something bigger. And I think it's finding that balance. Those are the Am Yisrael is counted like the stars, uniqueness. We're counted like the sand. We're part of something bigger. And the combination of those two together is our ability to really be Mekadesh Shem Shammai. And I feel I don't know if Tiferet is on the line, but if not, I'm going to call her in a second. But I feel that this is something that is special about, a girl turning bat mitzvah, and she needs to strike that balance between those two things, between being a part of Am Yisrael and yet being an individual. I think that's a value that we try to give over our children, to realize that you're a part of something that's greater than you, but yet you're a unique individual that you need to grow from it as well. With your permission, I'm going to call Tiferet, who's getting ready and dressed for her bat mitzvah right now. But I want her to come on here. I told her that I'm going to embarrass her, because that's the job of a father who's a rabbi, is to embarrass his daughter in front of the rest of the community. No, but she's going to love it. She's going to love it. And I want her to come and to say a word or two in honor of her bat mitzvah, and that she should feel she's a part of our community, because she feels that, and therefore I wanted to highlight that. So bear with me for one moment, and then I'm gonna call to